Okay, so this just came in today. This is the torque converter that I ordered off of Amazon. Okay. I don't know if we've discussed it any further. When I started first talking about this thing, I wasn't sure if I was going to go back with the original GY6 150 in it or go with a Predator 212. I posted on a few groups on Facebook, got a lot of responses. It kind of went both ways. You got your diehard GY6 fans that, wanted me to go back original with that. Lots of other ones said I ought to go with the 212, a little bit bigger displacement, much more self-contained, easier to work on. Long story short, I think I decided to go with, I did decide to go with the Predator 212. And I did more or less go with that for the ease of working on the thing. There's a lot less wire and it's all pretty much self-contained, and I like that. I don't like a whole lot of complicated wiring and things to figure out and go wrong and whatnot. So I've already ordered, it's on its way. I also ordered that off Amazon, $124. I mean, man, you just can't beat that. But obviously, it does not come with the torque converter, so I shopped around and found this on Amazon as well. It is a 30 series torque converter, and this thing was $79, but it has everything you need to install this thing is in here. It's all here. There's nothing else you need to buy. So take this thing out here. Here is obviously your cover, torque converter cover. Pretty nice. Plastic, obviously, durable, flexible, not brittle, so it should last. Okay. And comes with the belt, drive belt as well. Looks to be pretty decent. Feels pretty stout. Okay. And here is the plate with the torque converter partially mounted to it already. Man, this thing is heavy. It is not cheap. It doesn't feel cheaply made at all. And also, let's look inside here. It has one sprocket already on there, already down in there, right down in here. This is where it would run down from here to the axle. And it's supposed to come with two. One for the larger chains and one for a smaller chain. So no matter which way you go, you have the sprocket that you need. Here's the other sprocket right here. So they do give you two. The one that's on there is for a smaller chain, and this one here is if you're going with a larger chain. Put that back in the bag. I don't need to be losing that. And the bolts to attach this thing to the engine are also in the bag. They all appear to be here. Let's see there. Get this one out of the way. And here is the drive pulley. This is the pulley. This will slide over the shaft of the motor, and then you bolt it on, obviously. And then once it's on, then you slide this onto the shaft of the engine and bolt it down. And this is your drive pulley, and this is what they call the driven pulley. But it's more or less a clutch assembly, so this is what gives you all your torque. And then your chain's going to run from here down to your axle. So yeah, I'm very pleased with this. This looks like pretty decent quality. I don't see anything that scares me or worries me or would lead me to believe that it's cheaply made. It's pretty stout, pretty heavy. So, let me check this thing out of the knife here and look at it. Everything appears to be here. This is really nice too. They actually, instead of just throwing a bunch of parts in a box, they actually ran a tie, they put it in order of the way it's going to go onto the shaft of the engine, and then they put a wire tie through it so that you can obviously look at it and see how this goes on the engine, because there's no instructions with this thing. That seems to be the thing nowadays. You hardly get anything with instructions anymore. If you get anything at all, it's a piece of paper saying go to www. whatever, you know, and you got to look up your instructions online. But these things are, I mean, this is already assembled for you here. And this one here, like I said, they already have it in the order which is going to go on. These things are pretty basic to put on. So, you know, as soon as our engine gets here next week, I think, we'll be showing you how to bolt this thing onto the engine. So, I'm debating whether to paint this or not, to be honest with you. Now, I'm well aware of some of the, you know, inside pieces where the belts run and whatnot, you know, stuff like that. You can't paint that. You just don't want to do that. It's just going to wear off. It's going to cause problems anyway. So, but I am thinking about painting some of this outside stuff here just because, you know, I mean, the engine's going to be black and this isn't. So this might be nice painted black. My go-kart, buggy, dune buggy, side-by-side, whatever you want to call it, is going to be predominantly black, and it's going to have detailing in jungle green. So yeah, so I'm thinking about painting this black and then painting the outsides of these pulleys and things where belts and chains don't run, and painting those in jungle green. So give some thought on that, and I guess if you see me come back with a video painting this stuff green, you'll know I decided to do it. So, all right. So as you can see, I decided to go ahead and paint the torque converter. So we're going to start with the base plate that everything mounts to. We're going to paint it black, and then we're going to paint the pulleys green, jungle green, and then with the black cover over that with the holes, you'll be able to see the little bit of green through the holes of the cover. So yeah. Okay, so now we have the pulleys out here, and we're going to paint them jungle green. And of course you can see I have the inside of the pulley taped off. We don't want to get any paint down in there. That's where the belt's going to ride. It would just gum up, get nasty, and you know, the belt's going to wear it off anyway. So just going to keep the paint on the outside, the front and the back, and then only the front of this because you won't see the back behind the motor. Okay, so there we have it. All painted black and green. And once we get it on the motor, get the belt and chains on there, this cover right here will go over it. And with all these holes and slots in there, it's hard to see in here inside the shop, but outside, that green will show through there. You can see a little bit of it, but inside here it's not real good lighting in here. But from when we get this thing out in the sunlight, you'll be able to see that green through the case. So yeah, looks good. I'm happy with it. Love that color. Look at that. Look at that color. Man, I love it. You're going to see more of that on the go-kart itself as well, so stay tuned. Okay, I was just going to go over some things that honestly I just plain forgot to turn the camera on. You know, you get excited, you get busy, and you don't think about it. You're so into what you're doing. So basically, I mean, earlier today, this morning rather, I decided to take the rear end apart, the rear axle rather. And the main reason I took it apart though was to remove the original sprocket. The original sprocket is a 31 tooth, and it's for a number 530 chain, large chain. Okay, and I'm converting this over from the GY6 to the Predator 212, and I've already purchased the torque converter, which we went over the other day, and it came with a 4041 sprocket and a 35 sprocket. So neither one of those are going to fit the sprocket that I have on my axle. So, and you know, going with the 212 versus the GY6 and whatnot, people have advised me that I will need a larger sprocket, maybe a 60 tooth. So I decided to just remove the old sprocket. I'm going to find me a 60 tooth that will bolt onto here, and we'll go from there. But yeah, I had to pull that off of there, so I went ahead and pulled that off there, pulled the spindles off, and as you can see, I've already taped off and painted the axle jungle green. Love it. It's looking good, man. I'll give y'all a sneak peek here in a little bit. Yeah, so I still got to clean up the good Lord, what do you call them? Not spindles. Axle hub. Good Lord, I'm drawing a blank. Like I said before, y'all, don't hit me too hard. I'm new to this and all, so I got to clean these up here, clean them up real good, and these will also be painted in the jungle green, and the rims on the tires as well. So, yeah, and one other thing we'll go over real quick is I actually started stripping and to start painting what they call the bulkhead. This is what all your front suspension mounts to on this thing. It's called a bulkhead, okay? And you know, when I got it stripped down and got to looking at it, I have found quite a few issues with it. These things are notorious for tearing up anyway, from what I understand, from what I've read and watched online. You know, your suspension bolts here, your A-arms come off of here, and you know, this is all you got right here. You know, I don't know what gauge that is, but it's pretty thin. So these are known for breaking out. You know, which I don't know why you would go so thin and so cheap on the bulkhead of the go-kart when 9 times out of 10, if you crash, the front end is what's taking that impact. So seems to me kind of crazy to make it so cheaply. Sorry about that. It's pretty warm in the shop today. So anyway, what I've discovered is one of these has already been busted out, and they took a washer and welded a washer in place. Okay, so that's not good to begin with. Okay, and then I noticed where the steering mounts here as well is also cracked right here, and then one of these shock mounts is also cracking across the top here too. Now I have a welder, and I could get out some steel and, you know, strengthen this thing up and repair this and repair that. But I'm gonna tell you what, I went online, and again, now I'm not getting all my parts from them, but the majority of my parts for this thing I'm getting from BMI. And I'm gonna tell you what, this entire bulkhead right here, brand new, shipped to me, cost me $59. I'm not gonna mess around trying to weld this thing up, add some metal to it, strengthen it up. $59? Yeah, You bet I ordered one and it's on its way. So I'll hold on to this one. I don't know why, just because that's what most men do. I'll put it to the side, hold on to it somewhere. But the new one's on its way, and when it gets here, we're going to get that thing painted up and we're going to get it mounted up. I also have some new A-arms coming as well. Good Lord, I can't remember what the issue with the A-arm was. I had to replace one of the A-arms. Wow. Man, I honestly can't for the life of me figure out why I had to order a new lower A-arm, but either way, it's on its way. When it gets here, we'll prep the other three and take the new one, and we'll get them all sanded up and painted as well, and start getting this car put back together. Now, I have been doing a little painting that I haven't been showing on camera, and I don't want to bore you guys with tons and tons of prepping and painting. It's all the same no matter what color it is, so you don't want to watch that continuously. But I do have some of the go-kart. I keep calling it a go-kart. It's really more than a go-kart. The buggy, I'll call it a buggy, side-by-side. Not quite a side-by-side, I guess, but it's definitely not just a go-kart. This thing's awesome. So yeah, I got some of that put together. I got some of the roll cage bars back on it. The frame's sitting over there completely painted. I took the seats that just came in, and I've got those set in there just for fitment. And man, it's starting to look awesome. I'm gonna tell you what, it's cool. This thing is gonna be awesome. So maybe I'll take y'all out there and give you a sneak peek. Okay, so I just remembered why I had to order a new lower A-arm for this thing. You guys are gonna love this. Check this out. When I got the buggy, this is what it looked like. The ball joint had failed and busted. The A-arm had broke out. So they kept the ball from the ball joint, filled the rest of this in with weld to retain the ball joint, and that's what they were riding on. Is that not hilarious?